So another round of names. Michelle.
Michelle, yeah.
Tracy.
Kyrie.
Preston.
I'm John.
Tiana.
Stacia.
Je m'appelle Danny.
Bonjour Dani.
Mikey.
And I'm Agathe. Agatha in English, but pronounced Agathe in French. And we were talking about Americans. And today is the 1st of July, interestingly. So, does everybody... Do you celebrate Independence Day?
Sorry.
Do you celebrate Independence Day today? As an American?
This is my celebration, basically. Yeah, coming here for the refreshments, etc. Yeah.
Great.
Independence Day theme. It was advertised as. So.
Could you give us some history on the Independence Day?
Oh gosh, well, it was a long time ago, but I suppose because I studied in America, I live here permanently now, so I'm a Londoner. About 10 years. Yeah, and I'm permanently settled here, so I'll probably be here for the duration. But I did have all of my education in the States and grew up there. So I actually didn't study, the same history in school. I got it from the American point of view. But basically, our story would be that we were a colony of Britain, and then in the late 1700s, the American colonists started getting restless. They didn't like being taxed. And then they had a military rebellion, and it worked out for the rebels. And then I think that the UK at the time, England at the time had so many colonies that it was maybe a bit difficult to keep control of all of them. And that American colony just kind of got in at the right time, having a rebellion, and
That was a cup of tea, weren't it?
That's a good point. Yeah, threw some tea in the Boston Harbor to make a point of being rebels, and then we kind of went our own way. So it's kind of like we're cousins in a way.
Do you regret it now?
In a lot of ways. I mean, I prefer living here, so that should tell you a lot. But
Are you classed as a British citizen now?
I have what's called indefinite leave to remain, and I plan to become a citizen, but at the moment I'm not. So I've gone through all the immigration, and I moved here on a work permit, so I wasn't really planning to stay for very long. I really wanted to live here and experience it, and then lots of things happen in life, and I ended up staying.
My cousin, she's classed now as American citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And what it is, she wants to get married. Her partner lives over here, but it's really hard to get over to. It is hard to get into America.
Do you find it is too hard?
Yeah.
Expensive to get the citizenship?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is.
About £2,000, isn't it?
Probably more.
Come on, more.
Do you find it's too hard to get into the US?
comes over to fly, and how much it cost her before?
Yeah.
The cheapest one that she got was about 800.
Yeah.
For the
800
flight?
to £900, yeah.
So how often does she come back?
She comes every so often because her boyfriend's here, and obviously all her family's here as well. Like we're here, and when she comes, she'll ring me, right.
But she got her boys there in America.
I'm in England. But she had two of her boys she had in England, but her last one she had in America.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Would you like to live abroad?
Yeah.
Yeah? You too?
Yeah. Where would you like to live, Kate?
America.
America?
Miami.
And Miami. Oh! Look, you have a lot of people wanting to live in America over there.
Oh, right. Who wanted to live in America?
Both of them.
It's two ladies. Great. Well, it is. I think there's a lot to offer in America. So it's. I would say finish your schooling here, and if you're going to university or college or something, it's much more affordable here, and so you can finish here because they're great schools in London, and then maybe go to America after that. Try it out, see how you like it.
My dream, if I won the lottery, was always to live in Spain and own my own wine bar.
Wine bar, yeah.
Ah.
I'd love to try my own wine bar.
I think I'd like to go to Switzerland. To live, in the Swiss Alps myself.
Oh, okay.
And
And live there?
Yeah,
In winter
in a
and
chalet,
summer?
right in the there because I've got a fascination with St Bernard's, and right near, that's the place I would like to go.
Oh, that's
so,
nice.
yeah.
Where's your dream destination, John?
Heaven, I think.
Heaven. That's a
My
good place.
age,
Apparently they
must be.
accept people fairly easily. There's no immigration is fairly easy over there.
Well, I come from Cornwall, and of course that's a very long way away. Everybody says they'd love to go there, but mostly they want to come back when it's winter.
Yeah.
I think I'm just staying where I am until this very place that they talk about, if I qualify.
Cornwall's its own heaven in its own way, really. Cornwall's a lovely place of.
It's beautiful. It's very nice. Where is your dream destination, Mikey?
Poplar.
Oh, you're living the dream then.
Yeah.
You are. So we're getting.
Although,
back to the dream.
I think I could think of ways, going back to previous conversation about how to clean up Poplar. Because I think because we talked about how it's a bit dirty, but I think the worst thing is the traffic fumes coming through from the Blackwall Tunnel approach road.
My dream is to get out of Poplar.
To get out.
Yeah,
In Spain
I'd like
as
to
well.
go somewhere a bit near, like Southend or
Why?
something.
Because our brother lives there.
Yeah, but not just that, just to get out of London a bit.
Yeah, 'cause I think it's got
London
worse.
is just getting worse.
In which?
I don't think it's going to get any better for the crime
why?
and everything.
Crime?
The stabbings, everything now. So really,
No matter where you go,
personally, I'd rather get out
it's
now.
always happening, and sometimes you're frightened to leave your own home.
Yeah.
You are.
What do you think we could do to make it a better place? Coming back to the conversation we had before about saving the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. Years ago, it was different because years ago it was different because the way, like, we respected people, we didn't have attitude, and we weren't rude. And now, if you was rude to your mum's friend or a neighbour, she'd give you a clip round the ear, and then you'd go home and tell your mum, you'd get another one for telling tales.
Yeah.
You know? So, but yeah.
Because what it is, like years ago, I mean, the parents were a lot stricter, obviously, but and what it is, you could give them a clout. I mean, you can't touch them. No, you can't do anything to kids now, and there's not the discipline at schools no more like there used to be. So, personally, I mean, it's the law. The law has changed, so everything's got worse now. Yeah, that's why I see it.
And the police officers, it's like they're frightened.
Yeah.
They're frightened. And it's like, if you go like, even if you go like that to a kid, just do that. Oh, don't touch me, I'll get the old bill to you. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so...
The police think it's, see, with the authority, it's police, they think it's paperwork, everything paperwork for them. It's bureaucracy. There's too much bureaucracy in that, due to physical work, and it's just not enough time in the day for it to be done.
I just want to ask Preston, who wants to be a policeman, does he think he's in the end? Because I mean, for example, when I got into art, I didn't realise that most of it is actually writing emails. It's not making art; it's just writing emails and phone calls to people, booking events, and like risk assessments. So it's quite boring. But is it going to be the same with being a policeman?
What do you think, Preston?
I think it's kind of tough, really.
Do you still want to do it?
Maybe, I don't know.
Even though you know that there's some boring part in the job?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it might change.
I think the police, back it all off to social services.
Yeah.
If there's any bother with your children, if your children get bullied, they send it to social services for no reason whatsoever, because they don't like the jobs. They're not police officers today like they was years ago. They knew what a job was.
And yes.
Yeah, so I'm curious, is it Katie and what was your name, please?
Nelly.
Lenny. You guys are you teenagers in your teens? Great. I'm just wondering if you have an opinion on why there's so much knife crime at the moment.
we're talking about knife crimes and policemen. If you want to sit down and share your opinion.
Caitlin?
So,
Maybe I don't think it's just like the company, like the people you hang around with, like maybe they're raised differently to how you're raised, but like they think it's alright to do the things they do. So it just depends on who you become friends with and your decision to hang around with the group of people you do.
no opinion.
I mean, personally, I think the thing about saying that when it gets in the news and people say there's a lot of knife crime, I think that actually encourages people to carry knives, because then they think they need a knife because everyone else has got a knife because they've seen it in the news. So, I mean, I don't know if it's actually good to report all this knife crime or not. I mean, obviously it needs to go in the news if someone gets stabbed, but it kind of just creates a sort of rush, and then other people carry knives.
See, what it is today now is when adults see children or young men on the street, they always think, oh, he's got a knife. He's got a knife. It just comes out of people's thoughts now, thinking, God, that kid got a knife, which really we should be saying, have they got a ball to play with? Have they got a friend to play with? But no, as we, that's what it is.
So the police, everyone gets frightened.
They get frightened, and do you know what I mean? They like you have a go at a child, you're frightened to say too much because in case they pull a knife out on you.
And so the question is really, is it true that a lot of people, more people are carrying knives and there's more stabbing, or is it just more reported, as Mikey was saying before?
I think more people are stabbing.
Carrying
Yeah?
and
Do you think
stabbing.
crime increased?
Well, I mean, it wasn't quite. I mean, I think if you report it and you make out that everyone's got a knife, and I think it's a point about fear. If everyone's living in a climate of fear, then I think it is very contagious, this question of fear.
Yeah.
If everyone's scared, and actually everything, all these kind of police dramas and whatever, and all this kind of like serial killers, things that everyone watches, just enters the reality. Like, I did a thing in my estate with the kids, and they all think they're gangsters in this urban environment, and they listen to this grime music, where it's all about I'm gonna you up, and it's just like that kind of imagination actually brings out a kind of it's contagious, and it makes everyone think about fear.
As well, the Cockney accent is going from London.
Oh yeah.
And that because it's all being Americanised, or well, excuse the pun, but no, but they or kids nowadays are yeah man, yeah. So our Cockney accent is fading because it's too. Everyone wants to be. Got a Caribbean accent. I'll put the Caribbean accent on. When only a small percent of people are from the Caribbean, but well, say the white Cockneys, they're going around speaking. Yeah, wagwan. It's losing the.
Do you think it affects crime?
It's more of a persona, I think.
Yeah.
It comes with it. Yeah, I'm bigger than I am if I put on this voice.
And it was all the news about horrors with Chucky and all that. So they took that off the telly. Now me, I will not watch an horror. The only horror I ever watched was Carrie, and that was it years ago. That was it. I had bad nightmares.
And do you think that the fear of Carrie influenced?
And my daughter, her friend got her a Chucky mask. I cut it up, put it in the bin. No way.
Yeah. But I was going to say, even the music, you can't understand half of it today. And I mean, it's a load of swearing and just like mumble jumble. Can't understand what they're even singing now.
Do you understand what they say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I know.
And do you think, so it's a difference in generation, but I think it's always like this, isn't it? Is it? Do you think it influences the culture?
Yeah, a little bit, but the songs really, if you just listen to the lyrics, most of them are just relatable, but like the rest of them are just like rubbish, and they're all just like holding knives and all of that in the videos.
I call it jungle S-H-I-T. That's what I call it. Jungle.
So, John, what do you think? Do you listen to modern music? What do you think about it?
I was listening to what's said about knife crime. it just crossed my mind. I wonder if you see any connection whatever between the ways in which people with differing political views in public life actually speak to the opposition, and the knife crime of which, when they're trying to get some votes, they will tell you that they're wholly against. I mean, the idea of arguing with your political opponent now is you demolish this person, you corrupt them, you take them to pieces, you deal with their personal life and say that it's absolutely useless. And of course, if you're the leader of the opposition, you get a civil servant to say that you're not fit to be Prime Minister anyway. Now, with that going on, is it to me any small wonder that younger people think, I've got an argument with those people, I will just destroy them? And yet those politicians who are doing that character destruction are the very same people who are failing to find a way to deal with the knife crime. Maybe there is something about that as well.
So are you saying that the climate is more violent today?
If what you see on the street, at meetings, on television, on the internet, is you don't go into battle with an argument to make your argument better than the argument put forward by the opposition, you go to destroy them. If that's the case, and you're a big person with plenty of money, you don't need to do it with a knife, you just do it with words. It's cheaper. But if you're 15 and you really have an argument and a disagreement about who's selling drugs to whom with some next door neighbours, you just march in and kill them. That's what you do. And I think that if the example given to you is to go out and destroy, then that is what young people will do.
Using their own means. So, same objective, different means.
You have an argument with someone, yeah? They just pull a knife out on you. And what chance have you got? They frighten you, and what chance have you got against a knife? Really?
Hello?
I can't have an argument with someone now, because you don't know where they're going to pull it. And do what Kenny Rogers says, just walk away from trouble when you can.
So we are talking about knife crime, and we have a newcomer here. Hello, what's your name?
My name's Asha.
Asha, okay. Asha, we have Lenny, sorry. Kelly? Michelle, Tracy, John, Stacia, Danny, and Mikey. Soon to be seated here. And we're talking about how today everyone wants to destroy the opponent using several tools like words if you're a politician, or knife if you don't have the power to do that. Is there... Yeah?
I mean, I think... on the one hand, I agree with you, John, about that. I think our leaders are not really being leaders at all. I mean, it's just got worse and worse. But at the same time, I sort of feel like they've always been a bit like that they've always been sly and wanted to bring people down, and the leaders have always been a bit like that. But I don't think there are any example like what's going on now with the Tory leadership and them wanting to be Prime Minister. It's just... It's uninspiring to the kids. I was on Monday, I was at a school, and all those kids are depressed because of what's going on in the world at the moment. They're just like uninspired by...
There's nothing positive, is there? No. There's nothing positive going on. It's always the negative that's shown in your face. The good's never really on the news, is it? Because that don't really sell stories. It's always the bad stuff, so...
I agree that politics has always been very vicious and antagonistic, but I do think that within the past decade that the public discourse, what it is acceptable to say, has really deteriorated. And I do think that sort of leadership or lack of leadership affects people.
Sorry to interrupt you. A last word? A last word before you go. What do you think about what just said about politicians and the example that they give you and other people? Or anything else before you go?
I still just think it's like the company who you hang around with, basically.
The company that you hang around with. And what about you? What about you? What's your final word?
Just the people you be friends with.
Okay, so be careful who you're friends with. Thank you very much. Sorry to have interrupted you.
Yes, so I was just saying, although politics has always been vicious, I do think that the public discourse, the lack of civility, the lack of just being gracious and having some kind of public decorum in the public debate at the highest level. It's really just deteriorated so that it's like children shouting on a playground. And I think that that does affect younger people that are watching it as far as how they think that it's acceptable to behave in life.
So, change of culture, Asha.
I don't know what's going on with our kids. Took a knife and take somebody's life. It is the worst things. It could be home, it could be government, it could be anything. But what is our kids to take a knife and take somebody's life? That is a serious. And then the government, the police, the community, the parents work together. And it's a lot of the boys don't have a dad, our role model, showing them what is the life is. And I think they not go through life what is, because there's some of parents taking drugs, drinks. They doesn't know what the kids are up to. You can see parents be not taking drinks and they cannot handle the kids because who they hang around the streets make easy money, drugs money, and just take the life. It's just something we all need. Wake up saying that what is going on. Other people, the other countries killing it, other people killing it, our kids killing our kids, and that sad thing is what the. I'm just looking at what the future they got our kids. I cannot see it.
And so what can we do then? Or why is that so?
It is everybody needs wake up. The parents need wake up. The community need wake up. The police need wake up. The government need wake up. What is happening? Why is happening it? Where it's come from?
Go.
Yeah.
You fear, no matter how old your children are, you fear for them. Now, my oldest daughter's 31, and I worry about her going out all the time. My son's 25, my other daughter's 27, and I worry where they are, what they're doing. My grandson, my oldest one, he's 13. I worry about who he's with and what he's doing. And I'm more relieved when they're indoors. But sometimes you're not safe in your own home either. And today it's like these people that are politicians and all that are not doing their job right. Half of them should be sacked. I'm sorry, but they should. They're not doing their jobs right.
So they're not showing the right example. Danny.
See, that's why I prefer like PlayStation games for children and that. Well, when they're at home playing the PlayStation, you know where your kids are, and that. At least they're indoors and that. You know they're safe. They're not outside getting killed or so. Yeah, so that's why.
Well, it's the PlayStation. What's coming the game? It's the kids. It's what they're watching and what they're playing and what the age they are. That's the one thing. I know 5, 6 or 7 years playing 18 years game. And guns and a knife.
Call of Duty or something.
Yeah. I think it's parents need to wake up. The government need to wake up. Everybody need to wake up.
Yes, Mikey?
I mean, one of the things, I guess, from sitting in the middle of the table where you are for so many years, I think the question of security and the worry about people is so important. And you've got to get that right. You've got to make people... You know, it is such a detriment if all the kids are inside playing on games. It's not only their health, it's also their socialities. They're not socialising with each other, and all because everyone's worried about them. And it's a huge problem, and that's why I think security is so important for people. That people have got to feel safe at all times, and that way they will socialise and they will make these connections. But if we live in a climate of fear, it just can't happen.
So, fear. Hello. We have a new face here. We're talking about fear and security. Yes. What's your name again? Loretta. I'm going to do a round of name again. We have John, we have Stacia, Danny, Mikey, Asha, Michelle, and Tracy. And we are talking about how the young generation, we are scared. Everyone is scared for the young generation. And being scared means that you tend to isolate them. You want them to stay at home because you feel safer, but at the end of the day it has huge impact on their well-being and on the society as a whole because fear is contagious.
I remember when I was a young child, it was generally... Hello again.
Hello?
You remember me now. Hello.
Come and sit down.
You have to sit down. But I remember a time where playing out, not past too bad a time, my mum cared for us to come in after a certain point because where we lived there were unfavourable people. But it's important to play on your own, play with people and use utensils that are not designed for that game.
Yeah. What do you mean utensils designed for games? We're talking about different type of games here? Like, what do you mean?
Well, you can use a box as a house.
Ah, okay.
And be imaginative. We used to use a settee and the carpet was the floor, was the ocean. If we went on the ocean, we'd be drowned. Pardon?
Says you can play with yourself and that's imagination there. That's it.
Kids used to entertain themselves, could entertain themselves, but all it is now, I'm bored, nothing to do. When they've got plenty of stuff to do, I mean, we found things to do.
Just the excitement wears out at the end.
Yeah.
When I was talking about my childhood, I don't have nothing. A lot of the things my kids have, I didn't have it there. But playing outside, playing hide and seek, it make me laugh. I can talk about my life. But my kids have a lot of things. One day saying you'll be home when you got PlayStation and it's the internet, it's the movie they're watching, the everything. Sometimes your own home is because the things they're doing it's not safe. But you need balance to sit down and talking and have the kids and having dinner night, have a game night. Everything changes it. What?
Did you used to play outside as a kid with a box? Just like this? You what, sorry?
Yeah, outside, growing up, we always used to play out. Run-outs, curbsy, knock-down ginger, getting chased by Aisha. Ting-tang Tommy, yeah, I remember that.
There was always crowds of us, weren't there?
There was always crowds of kids you play. Tim Tam Tommy, run-outs, knock-down ginger, everything. And we always find things to do. Today they're bored, and what it is, it's all these computers, laptops, everything. And I'm sorry, but it's ruined all the kids. It has ruined them. And all this Facebook and, was it Snapchat or something? Whatever it is, yeah. Yes, it's all right.
So all the apps, yeah, you were about to say?
I think it deteriorates common bonding in the traditional sense of meeting up with a person, having physical contact, having chemistry with one another as friends or as potential partners. And I think this become too easy to find people when really you should do it by natural course of action. We met, didn't we, when the cyclists were going past?
6 o'clock in the morning.
We did.
This morning?
No. A couple of years ago.
There was a cycle event on. Like there was a marathon and that was it, yeah. And yeah, I didn't know what was going on. I saw thousands of bikes going past the car, the ad.
You were cheering on, like with me, we cheered each other on.
Like two kids shouting out our heads, clapping them all on.
So do you think that because people were more used to talk to each other back in the days, they were less fear, or it was feel more secure? Is there a relationship between all this? Yes, Asha, and then Danny?
It's the birds know each other. You could, if you see your kids outside and you know that the other birds tell them off. But now it's like, whoever talk is a lot of the teachers. Even if they know you, they're not talking to you because it's that you tell them everything is dangerous and they're thinking that, oh, you know, my mom, they're rude. Because they don't have a manners.
Because it's
See, what I think it is, I think the art of conversation is lost. Nowadays, people do not know how to have a conversation and carry it on because people are so used to texting. So used to texting on their phone, even inside within their own household. They don't communicate verbally with anyone. It's just a text or just grunting. But when you do go to strike a conversation up with someone in the street, people they all get scared, thinking, am I being attacked here? Yeah. Well. Yeah, they do. Like, you go like on the bus, you just sit next to a woman on the bus, hot day, innit? They think you're coming on to them, or it's just, people do not know how to have a conversation anymore.
I see this new person, sorry, what's your name?
Fiona.
Fiona? Yeah. I see you nodding. Do you agree with this statement?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to join us at this table where we can practice conversation? And a Diet Coke and a watermelon?
No, I'm okay at the moment, thank you.
Yeah, no, because it's like, people, like if an adult had a go at you before, if you went and told your mum would have a go at you for coming telling tales. But they won't now, I'll go and kill them or whatever now.
Really. The parents want to go and attack the teacher. Want to shout at the teacher for telling their kids off. When the kids are, it's just...
So are parents too protective then?
There's too many restrictions, I think, on discipline now.
Something that happened recently was, I don't know, the girl with the dog was around here before, but another girl with the boy said, attack to me. And this girl, only 15 years old, she said, I'll fucking batter you. I'm not sorry for swearing, children. And she did it twice, and I said to Kerry and that lot, I said, if she does it again, I'll call the police for real. So the dad said that you speak to the mum, they're separated, to tell her, and I hope she's got the message, because I'm definitely calling the police if she threatens me one more time. That's not out of fear, that's out of goddamn right.
And do you, so that's a very sad story, so it's very violent again, but do you think it has any link with the apps that we were talking about earlier, or what do you think, Asha? And then Mikey.
It's what I say to you, it's a lot of the parents, I'm not blaming all the parents, but a lot of the parents, they not taking the responsibility. When my kids, they all grown up now, when they was young, if they complain in the school, or the teacher tell me something, I was teacher's side. I say, if they involved in something other friend is doing it, I say, you shouldn't be involved in it. I would have just punished my kids. Yeah. But it's tell the kids what they do is wrong. But what you say in the parents, you put the plan, I say, oh, not my kids doing this, not my kids doing that. And you cannot take the parents, you are parents, but not your, you cannot befriend your kids. You can befriend your kids, but you have I tell my boys, I'm your friend, but line you cannot cross, I'm your mom.
Mikey.
I think a lot of it is because of business, it's like, it's bad for business, it's good for business if people are all anxious and scared all the time. Because then they're all buying more computer stuff, they're buying more phones, they're buying more security, if people are just hanging out on the street, then no one's making any money, so I think there is a business side to this, there's nothing in business to actually, it's better if people are anxious and scared for business than if people are just safe and secure.
Safe and secure and at home, inside their home.
I do agree with that, because advertising is very much fueled on social anxiety, and so is consumerism, really.
So the consumerism is
and advertising are both fueled by social anxiety. So the more that people
so it's
are
almost
insecure,
like a vicious circle. That anxiety is fueled by consumerism, and consumerism fuels anxiety.
I think so, yes, and it causes debt a lot of the time, which is more anxiety.
I see you nodding, John. Do you agree with this?
Well, I was really thinking about something slightly different. I did spend a time working in advertising and marketing, and I remember having a very fierce conversation, shall we say, with some of my superiors. I thought that we would, in my team, we would actually improve life for our client if what we did was to expand the market, if what we did was to expand the market for that client's products. But the other team said, no, that's wrong. It's nothing to do with us, what happens to the whole market. We just want to get more of our share for our client. Actually, this is two different views of, entirely different views of what life on this planet is all about. Yes, there is an argument that says we're into the survival of the fittest, and we very much are now, because all our children go to school pressurized. You've got to do well, you've got to do well, you've got to do better, because if you don't, you won't get on, you won't get to the top. Beat up the others by your power of intellect. Whereas what I was saying was, why don't we expand the total power of the intellect so that we're not competing, but we're actually working one alongside another?
So
that was my thought.
Individualism versus collectivism, really.
Yeah, if two people who paint paintings are going to do well, I'd like to see 10 people doing just as well, but that means a lot more people who want to hang paintings on the wall. Why not?
Great idea.
It's not survival of the fittest, it's survival of the adaptable. If you can adapt, you can get on well. It doesn't matter if you're fit, because Darwin said it's not survival of the fittest, it's the survival of the adaptable. Evolution. Look at the fish. We've gone from fishes into us. So we've lost our scales, we've gained arms, legs, we've adapted. We've got on better, we've got on tenfold to what we were. Look at, say 100 years ago from here, we'd never had nothing. We've still been living by candlelight. So we've adapted. We've made more things more suitable for us. No, we ain't gone far enough yet.
So Mikey has a point, but first of all we have a new face. Hello, what's your name?
Hi, my name is Victoria.
Hi Victoria, I'm going to do a round of name quickly. Mikey, Danny, Fiona, Stacia, John, Loretta, sorry Loretta, Preston, Tracy, Michelle, and Asha. Yeah, because some of Agathe, and then Agathe, yes. Mikey, you had a point about
I really agree with what you're saying, John, about that it's not about how you divide up the cake, but making a bigger cake. I mean, there is also a question, because of the way we're going now with our economy, we've got a bigger cake, but 50% of the cake is owned by 8 people in the whole world. So it's not divided up very fairly. I'm not one of the cake. I eat a lot of cake, but not that much cake.
Wait, I need to... yes?
Personally,
just hang on to your thoughts quickly. I need to entangle the mic.
One of the things to practice with.
Yeah. And then you go.
I don't think sometimes exams make a difference. And that's the truth, it don't make a difference. Now my daughter, she's 31 now, and she didn't go to school hardly, never had no exams whatsoever, and I'll tell you what, she's got a brain on her like anything. She's so brainy, and now she works with, she's near enough a manager, isn't she? For nursery children. And she didn't do an exam. She done them a bit later on in life, but she has done so well. She went back to college. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. She is very brainy.
So it's all about education, but also about what we put in our children's head. Coming back to what John was saying.
She left school.
She left school, yeah?
She left school and she didn't have an exam, but she was so very brainy. I always call her Brain of Britain. She's like Tracy. I'm not ashamed to say it. I used to be ashamed, but I'm dyslexic. Seriously. So she doesn't take after me. It's her aunt.
So Asha has a point, and I'm gonna give it to you this way. Yes?
Yeah, when they say exam doesn't matter. I got 3 boys I want to get her. But 3 boys they never come out of the GSC. For my daughter, she's the brain one of the family. I don't think I got that brain, man. She's an incoming doctor. But I understand, a lot of the kids going to university, getting all this, that. When they come out, they don't got that job. They go working at Sainsbury or McDonald's. They're going to all that. But I know when you have got knowledge in your head, one day you can pay that knowledge. Yeah.
So, yeah, Mikey?
I mean, I just think a lot of it is about this question of the whole exam thing is all about competition. It's about pitting one person, who's the best, who's the second best, who's the third best. When actually life is not like that. It's about working together. Going back to John's point, it's not about who's the best, second best, third best.
And putting pressure as well on people. Yes, Victoria?
Yeah, I was watching an interview with a lawyer, and he was saying that you pretty much can study. His opinion was that you could pretty much study law in any school, but it's really about the environment that you are, and some of the best.
Come back. I'm looking.
Give us a final thought.
Oh yeah, a final thought before you go, and
I'll come back because I'm looking at my friend's picture he done it there.
Okay, a final thought on the exams and what Victoria was saying?
I think it's everybody. If you be clever enough to do exam, to do it enough. I know a lot of the people don't left it in half exam or anything, and their life is doing good. And some people they need it there. Who's got the brain? Who's not got brain? Is that what is working for your life? It's not everybody's everything, is it?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so basically his idea was that you can, for example, study law pretty much anywhere, but it's more about the environment that you're in, and that's why some of the best schools, like let's take some kind of, I don't know, Stanford or something, they're really well known more for the environment it creates for the kind of students for the environment. But after, it's more about this competitiveness, willingness to be like, you know, being pushed maybe in some ways, you know. So for example, if you're, I don't know, studying again law in environment which is really relaxed, the outcome can be quite different as well. So,
but it doesn't mean that it's going to affect your results.
I'm not saying about the results. I'm saying that it's not. But if we're talking about the life post university, for example, after university, that's where your connections or people that you've met comes in handy. That's what I'm saying.
So it's not. If I understand correctly, is it that it's not about exams? It's what's your environment, and your environment is going to define very much what's going to happen to you after that. Is that correct?
Yeah. It can help as well. You know, it's.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Stacia?
Yeah, I think that the exam system really rewards one style of learning, which is that you listen to lectures and then you are able to write about what you heard. And that's not the best way that everyone learns, and nor is it the best way to prepare for the workforce today or the world today. I think it comes from a time when, in order to be successful, the students were trained to sort of go into the civil service, and they were going to be sitting at a desk writing all day, and that's no longer what the workforce is or what people should be prepared for. So I agree that the exam system really is doing very little good and actually a lot of harm.
I mean, let's be real, that's not what school's about. School is not about teaching people, it's a children containment system to get them off the streets, get them out of harm, and just, you know, the teaching is, maybe it happens, but actually, you know, I actually think that it would be better if kids went to school like 1 day a week and learned intensively, or just followed their own thoughts and then just got on with their own thing, learn themselves, because kids learn themselves better than they learn with teachers.
So Tracy first, I've heard a big no over there, and then Danny, yes?
No, I don't really agree with that. I think, they should be in, every day. Like, well, obviously 5 days a week. But what it is, some kids want to learn and they put their mind to it. And then other kids are not interested, don't want to. So I think a lot of it depends on the child as well.
Why are they not interested? Why are they not interested?
Because they just want to hang about on the streets with their mates and getting bother, and then their mind's not on school. But then you've got other children like
get bullied a lot.
Yeah.
Some children
get bullied, and that's another thing. They don't want to go to school and then their mind's not focused on it. If they're getting bullied as well. Yeah.
Then, excuse me, and I'm gonna go this way. Yes.
See, it's like well, I learned more out of school than I did in school. That's how I did. I took everything on, but life skills I've learned outside. Because in school they don't tell you about taxes, rent, how to budget. And that, it's all about someone has 2 apples, the other's got 6 apples, the bank takes your lot, so they don't teach you that, but yeah, it's just, it's like a keg, it's like you're all crammed into there, and it's not even a school, it's also, if you get a good teacher, then if your teacher's great at teaching your pupil, then you're educated for life. You remember your teacher for life. But if you've got a teacher that's just bored of their work and not enthusiastic with the kids, that ain't going to get the kids to come in. Because I had a maths teacher that used to get drunk every day at school. Yeah,
doesn't help.
Yeah, I went Catholic school. So, he come back from the pub drunk, and then he would say, read from this book, and then anyone made a noise, he would start chucking things.
Right, so that's not a good...
Mikey, I disagree with your ethos. As a trainee teacher, I'm there to inspire, help, to inspire friendliness, bravery, lack of bullying, conciliation, resolution. With little ones I look after, I'll give you a story. 18-month-old baby kept being violent. His dad kept laughing when he was violent to him. And when I saw what he did by the back of my eye, I went like this to this, because he's a bit of a bully. 18 months old. He burst into tears.
Yeah. Mikey first, and then
I sort of agree with what Danny's saying. I think that the school is, would be a good thing if the kids actually learned, and that's the reason why I say they should just have like an intense thing. That's what I did at art school. I was much happier at art school than I was at school. And the way art school works is you go off and you do your thing, and then once a week you speak to a tutor that you explain what you're doing, and then you get this intense one-to-one experience, and they guide you, and that works much better than being in a whole group of people that've all got different agendas, different ideas. It's just a different approach, and then people go off and do their own thing, and they can follow their own ideas. And if they want to be disruptive, they can be disruptive by themselves. I think it should be much better as a way of learning for at least older kids than this thing of put them all in the same space where they actually just put each other off, and it's boring for people. And that, when we go to schools, the thing we hear every single time is none of the teachers have got enough time for the kids. So if you just divide that up and give one-to-one time once or twice a week, it would be much more effective.
There's too many kids in one class.
So, Victoria, you had a point? Okay. Just a final thought before you... every time.
Live life in the present, not in the future.
No. Thank you for that. We wait for you.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why, I guess speaking from my experience, maybe some experience of my friends, is one of the reasons why you can be bored or you might not be interested in subjects, because you don't know your own capabilities, or you don't know what's out there existing that can interest you, in fact. For example, for me, when I went to university, it was the first time when I ended up in a very creative environment. Even though maybe obviously it has its own disadvantages, but for me it was a big revelation to be just an environment of people where everyone is interested in the same thing, or not necessarily in the same thing, but they're all kind of, it's more sort of just a bit more creative, I guess. And that of course it completely changes your motivation, everything. I mean, luckily my mom always never sort of said no to whatever I was interested in, so that's really important. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Is like I think it's important to give, you know, if the child be in touch with him and give him different options, different opportunities. You have to try like so many different things until he finds something that he's passionate about. And you know, I'd also sit in like physics lessons and just like look outside the window and just study like I don't know the sky. But once you can learn there are other things out there, it's really changes everything.
So
that's one point.
Sky is physics in a way.
Sky is physics. It's going back to the individual, really.
Yeah. You have to be in touch with the individual, or you have to be in touch with the child as a parent, maybe. And the second point is that I also think that teachers need to have like a better working environment, I mean, especially like I don't know how about in England, but like in, let's say in Latvia, you know, or other countries, there's so many. You need to have like a better working conditions, because when you have a better working conditions, better salary and stuff, there will be more qualified people wanting to work there. So higher competition and better quality as a result of education, because you know the people that are better want to.
So people won't be not willing to learn.
A few years ago, when I was a child, like you respected your teachers and respected adults and all that. But today, they don't respect the kids. They do not respect them. I'm sorry, but they don't. Oh yeah, definitely, but they don't respect them. Like, I went to a boarding school, private boarding school, and you know, I'm still in touch with the teacher there, and you know what, I respect him so much. He is a really great guy, he really is, and I phone him, he phones me, and yeah, definitely.
Inspiring the teacher, as Danny was saying.
He is.
The difference.
He can't believe how old I, and he says to me, I'm so proud of you. You brought up your children, your grandchildren, and that's the way it should be. But now it ain't. The kids got no respect.
Do you agree, Kristen? Do you respect your teacher? You do respect your teacher?
Yeah, I respect my teacher, yeah.
Yeah? What do you think? Do you have good teacher? Do they inspire you?
Yeah, they say I do good work.
Oh, good.
And that makes me happy. I never be horrible to my teacher.
Oh, good.
Bring her an apple. Bring her an apple.
Bring her an apple.
Yeah.
You wanted to say something, Loretta?
Something Victoria was saying about quality of life in school. I understand what you're saying. You had a different experience going to art school and an intensive on one day. But in this climate, we cannot endorse that unless you're rich. And then you could decide to put into a hippie sort of school. But teachers are there to inspire, motivate, protect children from final thoughts.
Final thought before you go? Tracy?
Final thought before we go. Yeah, that's what my view is. People, like young kids now, should respect adults.
Elders, yeah.
Yeah. They don't respect adults at all. I'm sorry, that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
Like, if you go to say you're going to respect your child, I'll get child line.
Yeah, kids say that to the parents.
Yeah.
Well,
and then
years ago, you get a clat and that'd be it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you get battered.
Do you know what? If my mother was still alive, bless her heart, she's been gone 10 years now. If she was alive and she was sitting here, she'd say, well, there's no respect. And kids need a good hygiene.
And what it is,
regardless.
Yeah, we had a good hygiene years ago, but we respected our mum.
Do you know what?
We did, yeah.
I was very hard work. I was the worst child ever.
Yeah.
I'd worked a lot. Yeah. You know, my mum used to batter me. And do you know what? I had more respect for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Oh no,
no.
She goes extreme back.
No, we had a good hiding. We had a good hiding, but my mum was a diamond. She was the best. I will do, yeah. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's your mum's name?
What's your mom's name?
Oh,
Dory.
That's nice.
So, you want to finish? Yeah?
And something interesting that I recently thought about is that relationship with your parents and your mothers and fathers is that I used to think that you should be like just thankful and they're like the best and you cannot criticize them. But recently I kind of came to the peace with the fact that not everything that I've been through is like their child was great.
Yeah.
And like, because it's impossible for everything to be perfect. Yeah, and I kind of like, it actually made me more at peace with myself, realizing that it's okay to say that what certain things that parents did weren't right at all.
So somehow you realize that your parents were human and they made mistakes as well.
Yeah, it feels a bit liberating when you say it's okay to understand that they made, like, I think that was a big, like, what you did was a mistake. I wouldn't try, like, I wouldn't want to do that sort of thing.
I saw you smiling, John. Was it?
Smiling?
Yeah.
Oh, it's something I do occasionally, like at least once a month.
Share with us.
I do hear a lot of complaints. I've heard them here for 20 years about the changes. Oh, kids give us no respect. But we never get any kind of appraisal of what life was like when the people complaining of this were themselves kids.
Yeah.
One of the things I learned, because I'm older than everybody here, so one of the things I learned was that in wartime as a child and afterwards in austerity, that if you didn't ask, you didn't get. But if you did ask, you still didn't get because there was nothing to give you. Now, the reason why a lot of kids were very respectful was because if they weren't, they didn't get anything ever. So it was actually in their own interests to be respectful and to behave. Did they behave when they were outside the home, far away, half a mile? Well, I didn't. So I think I'm probably like a majority of kids here who would have been very much the same. Don't say anything, there would be that. So that it's not really quite fair or even useful, though I wouldn't criticize anybody for doing it, to say that kids are not respectful today. What is important is that there are two bits about education, and I think we've got them screwed up entirely. One is motivate the children to want to learn, and that requires an understanding of individual children, and that means time, or pass on the facts that you have in your book and make sure they get into theirs. When I was at university, there was a saying, the lecture is an organized institution for getting the facts in the lecturer's notebook into the student's notebook, but without passing through the brains of either.
Yeah, and there was a very good quote there.
Yes, a lecture is a process for getting the facts in the lecturer's notebook into the students' notebooks without that information passing through the brains of either party.
Fiona, what do you think about education?
Yeah.
What do you think about John's comment about the teacher? Thank you, Thierry.
Oh my god, I'm all shy. No, it's right, Tay. Yeah, I believe whatever he's saying is like it's all true and stuff. So,
Are you happy with the education of your children?
well, at the moment, they're really doing good in school. So they've got good grades and stuff, and yeah, they're behaving. Yeah, like he had like before he had a couple of problems at school and it got dealt with, like because he didn't want to go to school because he was getting bullied, that one there. And so he, yeah, all right, Tyree. So yeah.
If it's a right school, they should have policies to
yeah.
resolve any difficulties.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the policies in place as well as the teachers.
Oh, sorry. I'm getting. Excuse me. Say again because we don't have the mic.
I don't remember what I said then.
So if it's the right school, then they should have policies in place.
If it's the right teacher, right policies, right regime, knowing that they're to protect the welfare, the safety, and the quality of life for the children all concerned. So children have to be targeted by the teachers and the parents to all work in collaboration to make sure the resolution of conflict is dealt with instead of ignored.
That is addressed properly. Victoria.
I do think though, like generally speaking about like the improvements in schools and stuff like that, I think maybe sport lessons should be maybe more frequent. Yeah, I feel like why twice? Well, for example, my school it was like twice a week. Maybe it should be every day. I don't know, because I feel like it's a good to habit, like to have that get that habit of exercising every day or like doing a little bit of something every day. I think it would be cool. Yeah.
So we're talking about exercise in here.
Yes, so I agree with what Loretta has been saying, that the profession of teaching is a lot more complex than most people actually understand, and I think that it's quite wrong to put the onus on the teachers because the curriculum or the system is faulty. The teachers are the ones that are showing up every day and trying to work within a system that's being imposed upon them. And I also think that as far as Mikey, what you were saying about how art school was so rewarding because it was structured differently, I think you may be underestimating the value of the basic education that you got before that point that allows you to be able to participate in that way. And you can't assume that everyone's household has adults or role models that are going to be challenging them intellectually.
Protective factors and extended family, friends, people, not just the teacher per se. It's a whole collection of people. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, quite agree. And I think it's all too easy because the teachers are sort of the face of education that we all encountered when we were at the front line. Yes, it's a great way to put it.
It's a very interesting point about environment when we come back to it. It's in school and out of school as well. Victoria.
I was gonna say about the system is that it's true. How do you kind of, when you get as a teacher, how do you change it? Can you change it? Because there's like a really great YouTube channel. They did basically a couple of interviews with teachers that left schools, and like they were asking them why they left schools, and most of them were saying that they left because of that system, like because you weren't like appreciated, etc. Sorry, I think this is not going. My thoughts not going deep. I'm just gonna leave it there. It's just how they change how they change the system. Can you,
Mikey?
I mean, in my mind, I don't think that. I'm not blaming teachers. I think teachers are great, and I think they do a fantastic job. But I think they're given the complete wrong brief. Teaching. We just heard from Michelle's got this relationship with the teacher, and I will just emphasize relationship. Teaching should be about relationships. It should be about a very personal relationship between the teacher and the student, and that's what you get at art school, at university. It's what you don't get at ordinary schools, because that's not allowed to develop. It's not about this is who I am, this is who you are, let me show you, let me guide you, let me inspire you. It's about, right, today we're going to learn about isosceles triangles.
Tell us about
I think, as Michelle mentioned before, I mean, I'm a former secondary school teacher, and I would say if I could reform one thing, it would be the student-to-teacher ratio. If there were just fewer students in the classroom or in the group, this would make such a revolutionary difference. And teachers' salaries are not that high. There would be a lot less to divide it. Yes, instead of having a lot of consultations and rejigging the exam system, which is dreadfully expensive, just hire more teachers and have a better ratio. That's really what people are paying for overall at private school largely, is that they're going to have a better student-to-teacher ratio. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Necessarily the better option, because although they have smaller numbers, I think when my mum put my youngest sister in private school, and she realised that actually she would do better to put her in state school, they had much more finance to get a lot more equipment, more inspiration, lots of different things. So sometimes it's about the status rather than the substance.
I just want to welcome the newcomer. What's your name? Hello?
Rob.
Rob. Hello, Rob. We have here Stacia, John, Loretta, Preston, Danny, Victoria, Mikey, and I'm Agathe. And we're talking about and I'm training my memory. We are talking about education in general and how, basically, again, we're going back to the money and how it is, and bureaucracy. And yes, we can talk about this book. Absolutely, Mikey, you want to go first and then we move on to the book, and I would like to hear Danny's opinion as well.
I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, I thought about the money. That's why I said the kids should only come in 1 day a week, because that way you can have a very personal, close relationship with 30 kids. If you just talk to them one at a time, find out about their lives, find out what they're doing, what they're thinking, and actually guide them in that way, rather than teaching them everyone at the same time about an isosceles triangle. And the rest of the time, just let them do their own thing. Maybe they'll go and find out how to rob
a bank.
I was going to say rob a supermarket, but maybe they'll go and investigate the things they're interested in, be it football, policing, or whatever they're into.
Okay, hello. If you want, you can join us. We're talking about education and robbing a supermarket. Danny.
See what I say. Every kid has a desire to learn. It's in them. They're inquisitive. They ask questions. It's in them. Every child wants to learn, but it's how far they get to learn, really. Because every child, from the age of 4, you really decide. Well, it starts to say what human being you're going to be, because with what they play with, what they ask questions for, do they like dinosaurs, do they like space, do they like the people around them, it's how they want to be. So if they want to learn, they can learn. But it's
finding the way.
It is finding
their way.
Yeah, breaking down the barrier.
Yeah, speaking about the way, actually in my experience, the best teachers I had about maybe like 3 really good teachers, like one of them was just really life-changing to me. So at school, like in secondary school, between 15, 18, and they were good all because they were really strict, and that allowed to create an environment where you could actually listen. I'm not saying talk about trust. Sorry, can I just say? So that allowed them to create an environment where they were actually listened to, and where you had to make homework, you had to get the work done in order to you had to actually get the work done before, because there was no way you could cheat with those specific couple of teachers. And that, for example, and if you were already interested in the subject, it kind of almost like pushed your interest like a lot. So I think the idea of like maybe the structure has to be there, and you have to appreciate every child's interest, but also the structure has to be there, because again, you're dealing with teenagers and you can get distracted easily, whatnot. I mean, again, you don't maybe not every child has learned how to learn, so again, I think it's important to it can be a way. This discipline and structure can be definitely a way, or should be a way. For me, it worked in some ways.
Thank you. So we have a newcomer, but not really. She was here before. So this is Judith.
Hi.
I'm gonna show my memory skill again. Preston here, Loretta, John, Stacia, Rob, Mikey, Victoria, and Danny, and we are talking about teacher and education and how they can change our life. Mikey here is saying kids should go at school only 1 day a week and then learn by themselves. And there's some debate about it around, no, they should be in school more. It's actually the teacher, how many teachers for kids, and you had a point.
Yes, I don't really agree that having most children in the general populace running about doing to their own devices, except 1 day a week, is really at all. They're not necessarily, no, they're going to be undirected. It's great to be inquisitive at that age, but they do well with some guidance. And that's what I think we as the adults in society, it's a wonderful thing to provide a free education. And it hasn't been that long that it's been provided to everyone. I think it's a wonderful benefit that shouldn't be taken for granted or treated so cavalierly.
So believing in a bit of structure. Mikey, back again?
That's exactly what I'm talking about, guidance. You don't give children guidance by talking to the 30 of them all at the same time. You give them guidance by forming that bond with them and having an individual relationship. For me, my only teacher that had any effect on me was my art teacher, because he did exactly that. He became interested in what I was interested in. He gave me avenues to explore. He gave me ideas. He supported and reflected my ideas to actually do things. And to me, it was so refreshing. That's the only reason I'm an artist now, is because of that relationship. None of the other teachers, I could have just been, I'm just a box. I'm just a number, nobody. So that was all pointless. Whole waste of time, waste of life.
What I can hear is that everyone has a beautiful story with a teacher, actually. So it's still worthy to go at school, because everyone has been very inspired by the teacher at some point.
I have 2 points to say. First is that realistically, with the amount of children, the amount of work that you need to do, I don't think it's possible to have an individual approach to everyone in a regular school. Obviously, from my experience, there are teachers that are trying, and if a child wants to, he probably will get that, if he stays after lessons and stuff like that. But I just feel like, it has to be a bit realistic in there sometimes. Also, second point is that I think maybe there is a bit of confusion between I think it's important not to confuse parents and teachers, and what parents should bring to the table and what teachers should bring to the table, because, if there is because I feel like so much comes from the family, and teachers are not going to be able to give all that. It might not be if that's that's it.
And it's what Loretta was saying, is all about the environment and who you have around you as well.
Yes, definitely. And further to the idea of having fewer hours in school, that sounds beneficial on the one hand, but for instance, in the schools that I've taught in, going to school was the safest and most comfortable place that the students had in their lives, because things were not going well outside of that. And it's sort of, I think, coming from a very specific viewpoint to think that being outside of school is going to be a wonderful exploratory experience, because that's not true for a lot of people.
Thank you. Danny, you wanted to make a sideway?
Yeah, because it's just going into a circle now. We just don't really know what we're saying. But no, I was thinking role models has effect on people as well. It's do people really need role models to succeed in life, or you make way from your own accord? So yeah.
Do people really need role models?
100%, of course, because it's just about, obviously, because it's about representation at the end of the day, I believe. So, if you see yourself represented, you see someone in senior position, you think you can connect and relate, and For example, when I was, as an example, that would be if you go to technical jobs or engineering. I know that there's a the campaigns has been done recently, where that promote female engineers, and it's the same point. You want to see someone, or different ethnicities and stuff like that. You want to see someone you can relate to in a senior position. Okay, never mind. I'm gonna finish that.
We're talking about role model. Do you want to? What do you want to share with the group?
Oh no, I'm very shy. I was saying it privately. No, we were just reflecting on the possibility, really, that schools now have become too much of an administrative playground, and not enough about genuine education. And that is a problem. But the other part of it, I was also saying, I agreed with the comment I got here, that. From my point of view, since most of us will spend most of our working life in an environment which is dictated by time, what you do, working in a team, what's the difference between that and school? We are learning that as we go along. So I don't think that you can do what you like, but come in on Thursday would work very well, because it won't equip people for working in a big office block. Sorry.
No, it's an interesting point. Are you... What do you want to talk about, Loretta?
Well, a book that I showed John that I'm studying at the moment is called Safeguarding. So it's about how to safeguard children and know the signs to possible neglect, harm, or anything else. And my book that I've got is about attachment theories, and Bowlby was a great pioneer for that. And it's about different experimentations for children for attachment. If a child is pleased to see their parent, great, but also the signs. If they're afraid of seeing their parent, you have to look out for that. But it's a very complex situation because you don't know if that parent has just grounded them. What I'm with younger children, so it's more akin to their body language, and knowing how to do sign language to really young children is something that I really hope to do, as well as work with disabled children. And that's just me.
No, it's interesting. It's like a proper vocation. Very fascinating. And sorry?
No, I was just applauding Loretta's goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's a link back to what Danny was saying with the role model, really, and how it's important. Rob, do you have anything to say about this or about something else?
Do you have a role model?
Do I have a role model? Yeah.
Well, I guess what I was thinking in the conversation about schooling was what space is there for adults in this kind of imagined school? Because it's strange to me that education, we often think about it ending at like 16 or 18 or something, but really maybe this is a space that adults should have access to as well, because adults have a lot to contribute to these spaces, I think.
As role models
really
or as learners?
Learning happens all through our lives. So maybe there's some way we can think about schools as a space that children share with adults in a different way.
Absolutely, and that links back to the role model thing that you were talking about. Do you want to continue what you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, role models...
Bye! Final thoughts?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think it's important, of course, to look... To find role models in real life instead of, let's say, like a TV show. You know, just look around the people and see where you want to take from them, from each person, you know. Because I do... it's just bringing up a TV show because I read...
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Hello?
It's just something that I like to do. Just watch people around me, filter my environment, like, you know, because role model can be someone like a friend as well, I feel. So. Sorry, no deep thoughts.
No, it's very interesting. Before you talk, Mikey, I just want to welcome the two new people around the table. What are your names? The three people around the table.
Do you want to sit here? No, it's fine. I'm Gary.
I'm JJ.
Hello, this is Tasha, John, Loretta, Judith,
Laureen,
Danny, Victoria, Mikey, and Rob. And Mikey, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just a round of applause to you, Agathe. Are you okay in the middle there? You happy?
I'm happy to have a break.
Okay. Well,
who wants to?
Well, does anyone else want to have a go? Having a go in the middle? Danny, do you fancy having a go? Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I just want to say, because the thing about being in the middle, and you feel it in the middle, is you can't say your own opinion. So I'm just going to say mine before jumping in the middle and keeping to them. That I think it's, to me, role model is a bit limited, and I think it's about belief. And if you see somebody doing something that's like you, then you've got the belief. And I think the most important thing for the kids or for anyone is to have the belief that they can actually do it. And, you know, I mean, my education system before I went to art school was like, you can't do it. You can only do this prescribed path. You can't think outside the box. Yeah, that's enough, yeah. But Gary's my role model. I just want to just get to the point.
Actually,
because
can I live with and drop the mic at the same time. Not drop the mic, but I
Yeah.
think it's a good question to know who are your role models.
Yeah, well, I've given mine this Gary. He's the guy that runs Tommy Flowers pub, because he runs a pub, and it's an art space, and it's you know, yeah, and somehow he seems to keep it going. Let's give a big massive round of applause. She's been really good. You get to say whatever. Well, we've got more watermelon if you want it. This is in the Independence Day special, and apparently I heard from my other role model, Stacia, that you have watermelon on Independence Day, and we've only had 1/4 of the total watermelon available. And once again, it's a question of growing the watermelon rather than fighting over it.
It's delicious watermelon.
Yeah.